Metronymics. What are metronymics? Metronymics are names that are derived from the matriarch rather than the patriarch. We're all familiar with patronymic names like Robertson, Johnson, Jensen, but few know about the metronymic. Now, how does this relate to Jewish history? The rise of Jewish family names is a rather recent phenomenon, having been mandated by European governments only since the end of the 18th century, beginning of the 19th century. The Austrian government in 1787 required that all Jews adopt family names for registration purposes. If they didn't do it in a timely manner, a name would be assigned to them by a bureaucrat. Napoleon demanded that Jews adopt family names in 1808, followed by Prussia in 1812. In the Russian Empire, not all, but many family names among Jews had arisen by virtue of people having already become known by the names of their mothers. And this happened because of a unique and peculiar set of circumstances faced by the Jews under the Tsars. You see, after the several partitions of Poland, which took place in the 18th century, large Jewish populations were added to the Russian Empire. The Tsars, who were consistently hostile to Jewish subjects, imposed harsh measures against them, depriving them of many rights which they formerly had, and reducing them to abject poverty. They were barred from owning land, were forbidden to travel and engage in trade, until at one point it became all but impossible for Jews to engage in any productive occupation. One of the few rights they were granted was the license to sell vodka and to maintain a small store to sell a limited number of food items. So a culture developed where men, having nothing to do, would gather at the Beit HaMidrash and spend their days studying Torah and Talmud and honing their debating skills, their powers of analysis, engaging in what we would call intellectual wrestling. Meanwhile, the wives, the mothers of the children, would set a small table outside the window of their kitchen and serve herring, bread, vodka to the workmen who would stop by for a bite to eat on their way through the village. So the women became the breadwinners of many Jewish families in the Russian Pale of Settlement, and they were the public face of the family. These women were known to all by their personal names, and their children were identified by those names. So the child of Rivka was Rivkin. The child of Sarah or Sora was Sorkin. The child of Heike, a name we don't hear so much now, was Heikin, in English, Chaikin. There were Merkins, Raskins, Hopkins, Slotkins. And who's that kid over there? That's Andrea Dworkin. If only she knew. If you enjoyed this work, please leave a comment, give a thumbs up, subscribe. If you'd like to support me through Patreon, the link is in the description below. Thank you for listening.